hoping for a hot start, but if that's first four minutes, well, it must have been a dream start for you in the box.
Yeah, I mean, we put 3 goals on pretty quick. Then we had our troubles after that. You know, it got back to even pretty quickly. You know, we really struggled to get it out of our back half. I thought they played really well in that middle period of the first quarter, and I thought the most important goal was the last one. You know, it sort of got to 3 goals each, and then we got one more. So that gave us some confidence that we had handled the momentum. You know, playing here, like, that was a phenomenal stadium feeling. Like, the Adelaide fans were enormously loud. We couldn't hear, like, talking on the phone to the box, to the bench. If you spoke at the wrong time, they couldn't even hear you through a phone. That's how loud it was. So for the players to be able to handle that emotion and stadium feel, and then to still fight back after them having a lot of momentum, I think that was a really important part of the game.
What are you most proud of?
I think the maturity of the performance. I think, like, last week we gave up 72 inside 50s. So from a technical tactical, it's probably a bit of a boring answer, a bit coachy. But we gave up a lot of inside 50s, and we really struggled to get the ball back close to goal. And this week, you know, we had I think it was a season high for possession gains in the front half of the ground. We put a lot of scoring shots up, and, you know, contested possession and all those things. It really, you know, suited us. Big numbers in those areas. So I think getting the game on our terms as much as we did in a big game against a really quality team, I think that's the area that I'm proud of. The other thing would be the evenness of the performance. So haven't thought about it yet, but when we do the coaches' votes, there'll be 10 or 12 names up there of players who could be in that. And I think when you've got that evenness of your group, it bodes well.
How big of a win do you feel like this could be for the group? Adelaide Oval's been a pretty hard place for you to play at times, and then to, you know, get to the preliminary final stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's sort of a sense that we needed to win here in a big game. I think we've had some pain in this venue over the years. We actually feel like we've played good footy here. We just haven't quite been able to win. So exercised a few demons today. They're a really good side, and we played really well. But you know, the getting to the prelim is not the aim. So, you know, we have big things we're hoping for in front of us, and you know, we get Geelong next. I think it's on Friday, so you know, it's a pretty exciting time to be a Hawks fan and to be the Hawks coach or a Hawks player or a Hawks staff member. And I think everyone goes into work Monday pretty optimistic and hopeful of what we can achieve. But the prelim weekend is not the aim.
You mentioned a few times this year, Sam, that you feel like you're the underdogs. You know, you said the media kind of wrote you off a couple of months ago, and then even on the weekend, the training, you said, "Oh, we're the underdog going into this weekend." Does that all get thrown out the window now that you're in a prelim, like in the second last week? There's a genuine opportunity to turn this into a premiership?
Oh, I think there's been. I mean, I sat here this exact table this time last year, you know, heartbroken by the loss and the missed opportunity of what could have been, and I think everyone had a level of pain and understanding that getting that far is really difficult and enormously hard work, and you've got to have a huge amount of respect for the teams that just back it up year after year after year. And Geelong are obviously one of those. Adelaide finished on top this year, and they get to this weekend, but they couldn't go a little bit further. But they didn't have the experiences that our players have had now. So it's been a really open year. I think with 5 games to go, any one of 9 teams could probably win the premiership, and there's 4 left, and there's 5 left at the moment, but there'll be 4 left by next weekend. And I still think any one of those 5 teams, I don't think anyone would look back and go, "Wow, I didn't see that coming." If any one of those 5 teams won the flag from here and we're in that boat, what's that give us? 20% chance.
Are you the underdog against the Cats?
I'm sure we will be. Haven't seen how you guys have planted it, but I'm sure you'll plant them as the favourites, which they should be. I mean, they're a very sound team. They've been here before, and they're annoyingly good, and hopefully it's our turn to get rid of them.
In terms of a quarter by midfielder, where does Johnny Eakham's first quarter kind of rate in the ones that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, he's played really well for us. He's been really important. I think he's had a couple of quieter games against Adelaide, so I think for him to stand up so strongly and to be so reliable for us. But I think the whole midfield group, you know, performed really well. I think it was probably Josh Ward's best game. You would argue that's the best game of his career, and to do it on that stage is pretty is pretty good. I thought Warps was outstanding. His composure with ball in hand, the ruck battle, was pretty impressive. So Nashi sort of was able to sort of half keep Dawson in check, but he's very good and got off a few times. But I thought there was a level of solidarity amongst that whole midfield group, which meant we were able to get the ball in our front half and lock it in there much better than we were last week. So that was some good growth for us, and Nuke's obviously a big part of it.
Did anyone at the club think that Gunston still had this sort of footy left in him when you went and got him? You completely understand the move. You go and get some leadership and a guy that could still play at a very high level, but he sort of turned himself into a top 10 player in the comp again, like on the biggest stage, kicked another 5, like... How shocked are you? How shocked is he? How shocked is the team that he's kind of wound back the clock?
I'd love to say I had this plan and we knew that he'd be this, but I would just be completely lying. We hoped that he would have some on-field impact, but when he came back, it was really clear, chatting with him, like, your biggest influence that we want you to have is we want you to support this younger group. Our midfield is quite an eclectic sort of group. Like, if you put all the names up without Gunners, it's sort of... you don't know what you're going to get sometimes. 2 years ago, you would have said. And now the level of consistency of all those other players all comes from the leadership of him and Luke Bruce. So Luke Bruce is not performing on the field at the moment, but he's still having a massive influence. He's still over here. He's still travelling with the team. He's still supporting the team. He's still coaching during the week. And I think Adrian Hickmott and those two, their collective, what they do with the forwards to grow that group is massive. And what he's done on the field has always been considered as a bonus, and certainly beyond what I thought he'd be capable of. I think probably what he thought he'd be capable of, but full credit to him and the medical teams for getting him as fit and as good as he's been.
And that leadership of him and the Bruce and these guys, like, you've been there as a player and done it. Like, how important to win flags that you need the guys behind the scenes that we don't see that are helping the group?
They say it takes a village, and the staff that go into every football club sits here at this time of year and thinks about how they got there, and the players deserve all the credit because they do the work, but they would struggle to do it without the support networks that are around him, and whether that's the mental skills or the physical output that they produce or the recovery methods or the dietitians, or every aspect of their lives is looked after to give them the best. And I'm really proud of our whole football department, because I feel like there's nothing that's too far for them, and sometimes they miss out on the best parts. So we do a pre-game meeting and it's just me and the players only, and so they miss out on this great moment, and they would all love to be in there, but they know what it means for players to perform in key times, and there's a lot of them at the moment, which is where we want to be.
Did you just put Gunston on ice at the end there? He's okay? Yeah,
I believe so. We had a few guys who probably struggled to recover from last week. Last week the game went for like 141 minutes or something. So we had a few guys who pulled up pretty stiff and sore from that game. So late in the game he was pretty stiff and sore. So we decided to get him out. Guinea had a big week. Sort of struggled to get, only just sort of got up for the game. So we were able to get him on ice, and probably Jarman was the other one. And we thought if we could get those guys off late, that would help us.
So he struggled a bit tonight, Guinea. Is it his hamstring?
Yeah, he had a tight hammy, no damage to it, but it was just struggled to recover from last week. So he didn't move probably as well as he would have liked tonight, but the medical team tell me he'll be fine and he'll recover better from this week than he did last week.
How proud were you of Sam Butler's performance tonight? Had a horrific leg break, complications from that. To do what he did tonight must be really pleasing as a coach.
Yeah, the boys are getting into him about his goal kicking and how good he's been in those clutch moments. He made a bit of a laugh last week. There was a free kick that went to him instead of Gunners, and we weren't sure which one it would go to. And he made the joke, I wasn't sure Gunners would be able to take the moment. So the boys are having a good time with all that. And I think there was a key moment with Butsy where he had this really difficult low ground ball, and he just attacked it with a level of ferocity and toughness that was... It was just one of those moments that really, for me, when I think back on this game, I think that'll be that one moment that I remember and say that's, why did we win this game? That one moment sort of summed up a lot of what we tried to achieve. I think last time we played Adelaide, they were a bit more physical and they handled the tougher side of the game better than we did. And I thought tonight we were first class in that area.
Josh Weddle said after the game, one of the crucial parts of your coaching, from his perspective, is that you say to players, go and do what you're good at. Go and harness the weapons that you have, and if you stuff it up, we'll work it out on the run. I was just wondering, like, were you coached in a different way? Like, how much has coaching changed to connect with the younger group? Did you ever think you'd be that sort of coach? Like, is it more the carrot and less the stick with the younger generation? How has that kind of transformed for you as a coach?
I mean, I'm not really assessing my coaching right now, if I'm honest. I think every coach tries to get the best out of their players in the way that they see. It's pretty easy for Josh Weddle to use his weapons. He's got a few of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was really good tonight, and for him to play multiple roles, you know, our back seven has sort of been pretty settled, so we didn't want to mess around with it too much. So for him to come in and do what he's doing, wing, forward, you know, I think if you got his weapons, that's how else would you coach him? You can't tell him where to be because he's probably not going to listen anyway. He knows better.
Would you have met with a contracted opposition captain in the week of the final if you had your time again, given the storm that has erupted in the last couple of days?
I'm not going to get into any details, but our playing group and I couldn't have prepared any better for this game.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
You see no regrets?
My job is to win as many games as I possibly can as the coach of this club and to improve this club in any way I see fit. So I'll continue to do that.
Is it extra fun that you have to go through Geelong next week to get there, given the team's finals history and whatnot? I think you haven't played in a final against them since 2016, and you were out there that game. So
Thanks for bringing that up. I mean, the rivalry between... I think every prelim, it doesn't matter who's playing in it, is going to be massive. I mean, every club wants to be here. The fact that it's Hawthorn, Geelong probably adds a little bit of extra spice, and hopefully we can pack out the G and make a great spectacle that the Brown and Gold Army comes out and leaves on top.
Do you have a right smile at how? Do you have a right smile at how romantic footy is? That 12 months on, it's Adelaide in the second round again, and you're on the other side of the ledger.
I probably will. I haven't yet. I mean, the game only finished 20 minutes ago. I'm still coming down, I think. So I'm really excited. I think every Hawks fan is going to scampering for tickets this week, excited to get to the G to see us back where we want to be. And I'm really proud of what it's taken to get here. But as I said, the prelim weekend's that's not the aim. Getting here is a stepping stone.
Sam, if I could just slip one question in there. You spoke about how loud the Adelaide crowd was. So just a couple of things on that. You spoke about maturity as well. Just comparing this to last year, when you lost at the same stage. Like, what aspect of your football career did you see that maturity in, and how important was it for you to kind of shut the Adelaide Oval crowd up?
I mean, this is a great stadium. I mean, I think Gather Round has been a phenomenal thing that they've introduced, and we've played 6 games here now in the last 2 years. So we feel like we've played some good footy here, but the level of noise in this stadium is fantastic, and it's not very supportive of us, if I'm fair. And I think the reward and the credit goes to the players, and it should, because they're the ones who have done the work. Like, we've lost game, like we were, 30 points up at three-quarter time. We've lost games from that exact position multiple times against multiple teams in the last 2 years. And so the level of confidence that we have that we've crossed that hurdle, and we're not going to do that again. And we have learned the lessons that needed to be learned, and some really tough ones. Sat here this time last year with that pain, and that has spurred us on and driven us and made us grow and galvanise as a group, and it was important that we did that, because without it, if there was any doubt at three-quarter time, Adelaide are a side that could easily have run over us late, but we handled it really well. Thank you.